only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought them there. So, well, these were African. These were the African, Arab, Asian values. The only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought them there. So, well, these were African. These were the African, Arab, Asian values. The only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought them there. So,
I want to give honors. I want to give honors. Honors to one of the watchers. Honors to one of the watchers. One of the transition masters. Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, who people denationalize and call Malcolm X. Everybody wants to talk about, he called himself Malcolm X. He said that his name is Malcolm X. Yeah. And Noble Drew Ali said, I am Noble Drew Ali. But guess what? Guess what? All this stuff you heard about Noble Drew Ali, people making up stuff, his name's not that, it's Thomas and whatever. But how come they never told you about El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali? The same way certain people say El Hajj Malik al-Shabazz, and nobody's riding with it. Nobody's putting it over there. We're not even going to talk about it. We're not even going to go that far. We'll just keep this stuff at Malcolm X. And you, in your incompetence, don't get that he said, my name's Malcolm X because of you dummies that don't have any knowledge of self. So if he starts telling you about his name is Malik al-Shabazz or whatever, he's not getting anything started with these Negroes. That's why he left the Negro pushers and went to find true Islam. Because some black guys can't be the nation that all Islamic loving people belong to. Especially if they're calling European white man and the devil and all that stuff. But then I'm sitting here with a European in Mecca, and me and this European are building about world issues. And Europeans telling me, you never came home? You didn't come home coming over here. You left home over there. And what did he do? Immediately came back here. Immediately came back here and started talking about human rights. And he wants to go to the UN. And Article 15 of the UN Declarations says everyone has a right to a nationality. And he's going to the organization. He's going to the organization, right? Organization of Afro-American Unity. Remember, this is him. This is him talking. Now, you tell me if this doesn't sound like something you didn't hear before. During the past 10 years, the entire world has witnessed our men, women, and children being attacked and bitten by vicious police dogs, brutally beaten by police clubs, washed down the sewers with high-pressure water hoses that would rip the clothes off the bodies and the flesh of our limbs. And all these inhumane atrocities have been inflicted upon us by the American government authorities, the police themselves, for no reason other than that we seek the recognition and respect granted other human beings in America. Not other colors, not other continents, not other anything. Human beings. Why is he moving toward human beings? Because he knows that there's a human declaration of human rights that applies to all human people. And then with a little, right, with a little research, just a little, not lots, just a little. With a little research,
No one allows himself to be classified under the word Negro, but the black man here in America who is a descendant of the slaves. And very seldom is it ever applied to anybody but the black man here in America who is the descendant of the slaves. When you ask a man his identity, he should use a word that connects him with a culture. If you ask him his nationality, it should connect him with the nation. Like it's like.
What did he just say? What he just say? Now this is their guy. Oh no, this is not their guy. This is El Haj Malik El Shabazz, because you see, he has his beard and all that stuff, his Moorish beard. So he's not playing that BS on himself. He's just playing that BS because you dummies don't recognize what's going on. And you keep denationalizing him and calling him Malcolm X. Just like you denationalized Yassine Bey and call him Most Def for years after he told you I'm not Most Def. Why are you calling me that? I have a nationality. Same thing Most Def did, same thing El Haj did. Stop playing organization games and get down with humanity. And Allah is my witness. When I said pull this up, a little research, this is really real time right now. I never seen this thing ever before. I never seen this. I never heard him say this before. Where's this been at? This is real time right now. This is how you know that the frequency is really El Haj right now. He's coming through the ethers right now, letting you know what's up. Whoever played this for you? Anybody ever got this played for them? Let's just rewind this. This is not me right now. This is not Kudjo L right now. This is not more science and none of that. This is El Haj right now. This is Malik El Shabazz right now. You can't make this up. You can't script this. Like, you can't script this. because it always happens, you know. But knew that from early today, El Hajj was buzzing early, just buzzing all day. This is why right now. So I want you to know that this is not Malcolm X right now. Like right now, in this moment in time right now, this is El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Right now.
One allows himself to be classified under the word Negro, but the black man here in America who is a descendant of the slaves. And very seldom is it ever applied to anybody but the black man here in America who is the descendant of the slaves. When you ask a man his identity, he should use a word that connects him with a culture. If you ask him his nationality, it should connect him with a nation. Like if I ask a man his nationality and he says German, that connects him with Germany. Or if he says, even if he says German American, it still connects him with having originated. His family, his history has originated in Germany. If he says he's French American, it connects him with France. But when you ask the black man in America and he tells you Negro, and usually when you find a man who calls himself a Negro, he can't tell you what language that he spoke before he came to this country. It's of no consequence, no interest. He believes that prior to coming here, he was a savage in the jungle, and therefore he had no language. And this justifies his lack of knowledge concerning that mother tongue today. And the history, as Mr. Baldwin pointed out, of the white man here in America and the black man here in America, points up the fact that the Negro, or the man here who calls himself a Negro, is just an ex-slave. If he is an ex-slave, I'd rather say he's still a slave. But he's wearing his slave master's name, the name that was given to him during slavery. He's speaking the language of the man who made him a slave because he has no knowledge of his own tongue. He only knows the history, his own history, as taught to him by his former slave master, who purposely hid from him his own history to make him think that he was an inferior being before being brought here, until the black man here in America is connected or reestablished or given some knowledge of his existence prior to coming here to America. His own appraisal of himself will be so low that he'll actually think that the white man is doing him a favor to let him be here in America, no matter what his status is. And he also, and this is one of the reasons today why he fights so hard, some of them, to sit down next to the white man. They actually think that the white man is the personification of perfection. And whenever they're allowed to go live in his neighborhood or sit in his restaurant or mingle or socialize with him, that they have attained, that they have made progress. But when they go back and study the history of their own people and the accomplishments of their own people, the civilizations and cultures, black civilizations and black cultures that existed in Africa at a time when the whites in Europe were living a cave-like existence, then immediately their appraisal of themselves begins to go higher. And they don't think that to beg somebody to, under the word Negro, but the black man here in America who is a descendant of the slaves. And very seldom is it ever applied to anybody but the black man here in America who is the descendant of the slaves. When you ask a man his identity, he should use a word that connects him with a culture. If you ask him his nationality, it should connect him with a nation. Like if I ask a man his nationality and he says German, that connects him with Germany. Or if he says, even if he says German American, it still connects him with having originated.
And we already know that we're surrounded by traitors. We already know. So, just like when Khalid Muhammad came out and said that he's a mourner or whatever like that, and people didn't rap. You didn't rap. People's birthdays are gonna come and they want to do this and that in honor of whatever, but they're not letting you really know what's up. the fact that he knows about nationality, the fact that he knows that he's not Negro, he's Malik El-Shabazz. He's talking about nationality. And then, remember, this is the speech. The American government is either unable or unwilling to protect the lives and property of your 22 million African American brothers and sisters. We stand defenseless at the mercy of American racists who murder us at will for no reason other than we are Black or of African descent. Now all this stuff right here is to appease the Negroes, the people who don't want knowledge of self, the people who want to die in and complain and march around the place. And that's all they're going to do, knowing that that's a defeated mindset. They're not even penetrating that it's a defeated mindset. Because with these specific words, him saying nationality is changing the mindset. This is a whole different thing now that he said nationality. Just like when Muhammad Ali told them, I'm not going to kill my brown brothers and all that. They never stripped me of my nationality. You think these people didn't know? And he's repping Ali. He didn't even say L or whatever. He was repping Ali. Known, world renowned, Ali. That's the power of Ali.
Love to everybody listening worldwide. I am Mizraim. I left L. I am here with my co-host, Noble Brethren, Kudjo Adwo L. Peace more.
Peace and love more. Islam.
Hold up. Peace more. You with? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me? Oh, that was my bad. I was muted. Muted. That was my bad. Islam, boy. Peace and love.
Oh, okay.
That was me. That was me. They didn't stop. They weren't stopping it. They weren't stopping it. It wasn't them. What's good, Miss?
Peace to you. Body in the chat. You are tuned into Moorish Heritage and History School Blog Talk Radio for May 20th, 2021 Gregorian calendar. Simultaneously being broadcasted on Canaanland Moore's YouTube page. Salute to everybody in the chat that's tuned in, man. Man, it's good to be back around. I don't know if it's just me, but this third Thursday feel like it came up pretty fast, bro.
Yeah.
It came back around quick.
Yeah, it came back fast.
You know?
Yeah.
Facts indeed. So, again, we here on a significant day. Of course, I mean, it's a day after the noble El Hajj Malik El-Shabazz solar return, born day and whatnot. Hey, man, I just heard what you was playing on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Speech from El Hajj. Yeah, I haven't heard that one before either. I heard you saying you haven't heard it.
Never.
And forgive me, man, like I wanted to upload some sound bites of El Hajj Malik El-Shabazz, who, you know, I would say it in these terms. I would say that 85ers know as Malcolm X, but we know better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, facts indeed. Man, it's just significant. He was speaking about the same things that Moore's been saying, and what Ali was saying since, you know, before the 20s, 1920s at that. And the same message that Moors are saying now, you know, and it's like, this is nothing new in that sense. And why people don't get it, I don't know, bro. But it's just amazing that all of this can be verified. And, you know, as far as these being real issues, as far as identity is concerned of our people, because like he was saying, you know, he denounced being called the Negro.
Yep.
And we seen that in multiple clips he had. He was denouncing being called the Negro. He denounced being called a quote black Muslim, just to simply, in no uncertain terms, identify, you know, his faith-based identity in that sense, simply as a Muslim, or black, no white Muslim, just Muslim, right? So, you know, like he was letting go, or he let go in that sense of the brands of Negro, black. I'm not sure how much he went on the word colored, but I definitely heard him denounce black and Negro.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is what Moore's been trying to say. Yeah. And it's not like we don't like or love our people as a whole and our nationality and the members of our nation. But it's like, yo, we have to identify the nation. And there was something with him. He was definitely on to something because he had visions of, you know, taking these issues to international venues, the international court, world court, etc. So, you know what I mean? He was no slouch on the concept of nationality, because he had to be inspired by something national to even talk international, anything. So, you know, that's how I see it, man. I salute the brother for his endeavors of trying to wake us up. But, you know, like we see play out very often, it's all too familiar, you know, when people fall out with different organizations, it gets messy and public, and it just always goes crazy. So, you know, I still say, you know, like what Noble Ali said was important as far as bringing us enough to save a nation, but taking it and saving ourselves, not to be selfish, but, you know, we got to learn from the same patterns of the past. You know, if we still living out the same issues that was the issues in the 50s and the 60s, and, you know, even before that, Noble Ali talking about how he traveled to the South, seen the work, and it was the works of his people that was bringing disgrace and all of that. You know, we can kind of see like somewhere that became, I don't want to say acceptable, but somehow it got interwoven into, you know, the culture and the image, if you will. And I don't know, you know, I mean, I don't like it, but, you know, it is what it is. And this is nothing new. So we can look in 2021 and see, like, it's the same issues that been going on since 1921, if not before then, you know? And I would say that with all the great works that the ancestors and the elders before us did, it's still a lot to learn from all of them, like you just showed, you know? I haven't heard that particular speech of him mentioning nationality, denouncing Negro. And I've heard him denounce Negro, but I never heard that one. And he mentioned nationality, like all in the same sentence, man.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's real. And I don't know, man. It's like today you got a lot of people saying that, you know, oh, they're unapologetically African, and, you know, all of this, and it's like, well, if you all of that, and I'm not saying you're not what you say you are, whatever, but if you all of these things, you know, how are we missing over these guideposts, these guide points of the elders that was pointing us or left references for us to navigate with. You know, I don't understand how any of these so-called black people, and I mean that they call themselves that, they heard about Moors, they don't want to identify as Moors. You know, it goes back to me to what he was saying about that self-hate. I think that that's a real aspect of it too. Whether people know that or not, like if they intentionally hating themselves or just ignorant to the fact of who they are, you know, it's a real thing. The result seems to be the same. But I say that to say that, like, you know, there's no organization that has not heard about Moors.
Yeah.
From the 20s to now. Like, all of them know. You know what I mean? Even if you want to look at those who were so-called dealing with the civil rights movement and all of that, like, you can't tell me for all of that and you don't know about Moors. This J. Rogers work was utilized for some of those cases. You know what I mean? Like this book, Nature Knows No Color Line, Sex and Race Volume 1, 2, 3, like they was using that literature to establish the fact that some of these civil cases, if you will, I don't want to say civil rights, to establish the fact that the European is not superior. So how do we miss all of this information about Moors in these so-called Black power societies? How did that happen? You know what I'm saying? And it's like he said, you know, a lot of these leaders have sold people out. But now, in these days and times, there's no excuse because there's really not really a need for a quote leader in that fashion. Like we got what I don't know.
We got everything. We got everything.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I guess some people do still need their handheld as far as right guidance and things like that. I'm not saying we all don't, you know, stumble and get back on the path or whatever. But I say all that to say I don't think it's necessary for us to have a leader for us to conclude what the truth is at this day. You know what I mean? In these days and times, like all of it has been left. So, you know, I don't know more, but I just feel like the Moors message is ever present. Like you said, you know, it was present since waking up, you know, and it's just like that. So I don't know, More. What's your thoughts? I mean, that was from what I heard you playing. That was very revealing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was really
Well,
revealing.
one of the another one of the foremost scholars that we could look at with regard to how come our people don't get it is Amos Wilson, and he had there was two. Well, I mean, all of his books are crazy, but two of them that really stick out with regard to the psychological lapses that our people experience is African-centered consciousness versus the New World Order and Blueprint for Black Power. And in one of those, he was talking about how when you're in a state of self-hate, when you're in a state of self-hate, there's a switch that goes off in the brain that makes things be backwards, makes things be reversed. So the example he was using was all the stuff that destroy you, you love. All the stuff that destroy you, you love. And all the things that advance you, you hate. So when we look at, you know, we talk about, you know, El Haj bringing up nationality, and then nobody's down with it. But then he's talking some black whatever, and then everybody's down with it. And then they say human rights, and nobody's down with it. But then when they say civil rights, everybody's down. Everybody wants to go file lawsuits and all that stuff, civil suits and whatever, when that's not where it's at. Those are the things that destroyed us. Lack of nationality has destroyed us, and our people run towards it. Lack of human rights destroys us, and our people run toward it. So if we're going to use Amos Wilson as a reference point, what we're looking at is people filled with self-hate. That's why they don't get it. Because the thing that is supposed to save them, which is their nationality and their birthrights, they elude it at every cost. They want nothing to do with it. And if they do want something to do with it, it's not going to be based in truth and whatever. It's going to be based in some stuff that some trader over there said, selling them a package for $7,000 to get nationality, right? Which all goes into the self-hate paradigm, because self-hate, once you have self-hate, then you know, like we said, the mind is reversed. So think about everything that the people do with a reversed mind. What is the outcome going to be? Exactly what we're seeing right now, which again goes back to Drew Ali saying he came to save us from mental slavery, which is self-hate, you know. And again, certain people cracked the code. You know, El Haj cracked the code, and he was like the Aquarian man, just pouring it out on people, and they wouldn't even know what was going on. They didn't even get it. It didn't even register with them about the transition that he went through. Like when like for example, when he was doing the speech about the civil rights, and he's talking about, we are Black Americans. We have a problem that goes beyond religion. We feel that the problem, number one, of the Black man in America is beyond America's ability to solve. It's a human problem, not an American problem or a Negro problem. And as a human problem or a world problem, we feel that it should be taken out of the jurisdiction of the United States government and the United States courts and taken into the United Nations in some manner, that the problems of the Black man in South Africa, Angola, and other parts of the world, and even the way they're trying to bring the problems of the Jews in Russia into the United Nations because of violations of human rights. We believe that our problem is one, not of civil rights, but a violation of human rights. Not only are we denied the right to be a citizen in the United States, we are denied the right to be a human being. Which should let you know, if you're trying to be a human being, then you should be tied to the human family. And if you're being denied the rights of humans, it could be because you're not human, which is why he told people that we're not Negroes. And you have to have a nationality. But again, if we just heard that speech today, and ain't nobody ever heard that before, nobody ever brought it up ever before. And that's been out there for however long it's been out there. From the time he first said it to now, and you heard everything else, and you didn't hear him say nationality, and that he knew what that was, you know, it should let you know something. Because he had all the keys. If he's talking about human rights and human beings and all that stuff and violation of human rights and not civil rights or whatever, he's talking just how Morris talk. No different. And he had L and everything. He's talking exactly how you hear Morris talk today. Exactly. So like you said, we give honors to the Moor for speaking up. We give honors to him for speaking up. You know what I mean? At the threat of his house getting firebombed and all that stuff, him getting murdered, still spoke up. You let these clowns play their boule games when he was around. People weren't getting away with selling no packages when he was around. right? No different than when Drew Ali was around, they weren't getting away with it. And when Yashua was around, he was turning over the tables of the money changers and all that because of the same thing. The opportunists taking advantage of people who are less inclined to have knowledge of self. No self-identity, a lack of confidence in who they are. Of course, they're going to be the ones taken advantage of. So it only makes sense. And like he said, it's not a Negro problem or American problem or whatever. It's a human problem. And that problem, Drew Ali said, is only going to be solved through the Moorish Divine and National Movement. They know what, ain't nothing else going to solve your problems. The only thing that's going to solve the problems of our people is what Noble Drew Ali brought. And the most important integral part of his lesson is, what's your nationality? You're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian. You have a nationality. Nationality ties you to your ancient foremothers and forefathers so you can have a place in the world. And once you recognize your place, then you could take your place amongst the affairs of men, and then the affairs of men are going to include you, which would mean that they'll assist you in whatever it is that you need. But you can't do that if you're a Negro, or if you're black, or if you're African, or if you're some fiction that was created in 19 whatever, and you're calling that identity. It has absolutely nothing to do with identity. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that he knew who the Moors were. We know for a shadow of a doubt he knew Islam. We know that he knew corruption based on the organization that he was belonging to, that he removed himself from that, set up his own stuff so he can do something right, opposed to continuing the corruption that these people were involved in. You know, and again, the only qualm I have is him continuing to give honors to these people who railroaded him. And that shows the level of his sincerity. It's almost like a Taj sincerity. You know, it doesn't matter, work with anybody because this is for the nation or whatever, but then the people who he's working with aren't looking at it like that. They're looking at it at, like, you know, use him or whatever the case is. You know, same thing with Al-Hajj. You know what I mean? Good brother, just doing his part for our people, and people taking advantage of that. You know, don't want to transition from a lower place to a higher place and identify him as Malik El-Shabazz and all that. They're so dumb that he said, well, I'm not going to call myself that because my people aren't ready for that yet, or whatever. I'm Malcolm X. When that's a fiction. Black man in America and all that stuff, that's fiction. There's no way that he knew that we're not Negroes and all that, and he's calling people black still. He was strictly doing that because of the incompetence of his people who really weren't ready. He probably realized that they weren't ready. No different than Martin realized they weren't ready and just let them into a burning building. These people aren't ready. They don't know what it means to be free or whatever. They don't really have the concepts. You know, it's like Brother Sheldon talks about a lot, that you have to see more than your block. If you really want to get what this Moorish thing is, you have to see this everywhere. You have to go see it yourself, not just where you live at. You know, you gotta see this in other places for you to really gravitate to it the way you're supposed to gravitate to it. Because just seeing it here is not doing it. You know, and then he went and he traveled. He took the Hajj and all that stuff. He had to take the Hajj to figure this out. What if he never took the Hajj? He might still be around right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, it's a lot to be learned from, him in that perspective, and life in general, because it's like, all right, so we know for a fact, like I used to look at it like this. I thought, okay, well, yeah, we all claim to be Moors. That's what's up, right? But then as time goes on, you see like, damn, there's a lot of Moors with different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be of the same nationality. Cool, great. But then within that, you have things operating like that's not really to the national standard. And I believe, because we talk about nationality, it also determines the political status. And I think we all been politically incorrect before. I know I have, you know what I'm saying? But I see it like, it got to get to a point where we realize, like, everybody that's claiming the same thing they're not really seeing it the same way. And I think that's what it was with El Haj Malik El Shabazz. Like, there was people who didn't really want him to get his message out because it was affecting their flow,
Right.
The famous line, "Get your hand out my pocket." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the truth was destroying the myths and the streams that came with the myths. So, I don't know, man. I think it got to get to a point where we learn from the past and see, like, yeah, you could be sincere and want to work with everybody, but you might be doing more damage than good. And I'm not trying to sound like, I hope that didn't come off the wrong way. But, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We just seen it play out so many times before, The people who was adverse to Noble Drali was his own. You know what I mean? The people who was adverse to El Haj Malik was his own. And we see these examples so many times. And we gotta ask ourselves, like, okay, so then, and not that he didn't have European adversaries, don't get me wrong. I'm saying the ones who took him out look just like him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was a European in the room when they yell, "Get your hand out of my pocket." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, real tough. It has to be, we gotta learn from that at some point or another, that, like, just because everybody is in the same room and professes to have the same convictions or beliefs or knowledge or facts that you do, these might be the people that do you,
Mm-hmm.
It might be. And then again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to say who shot him, who didn't. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of our own people in there, and dude who yelled, "Get your hand out of my pocket," didn't sound European at all.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I think that's something to be learned from that. Like, no, we're not all the same. I mean, we're the same. Don't get me wrong, but people got different agendas, and that's just a sad reality. I was thinking about this last night before I went to sleep. I was like, mathematics is life, but I don't want to say unfortunately, but it is a reality that if we're talking about living mathematics and whatnot, well, there's a branch of mathematics that does exist called division. You know what I mean? Like, there is a such thing as division, and that's still mathematics. In some cases, it's not a good thing. In other cases, it may be, because a lot of people say, we got to separate the wheat from the chaff or whatever. In that sense, I guess the division may be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it still is. It might be a negative because everything is in that. Everything is even. Like, the fact that there is a difference. Some people believe this and that's what they believe. Somebody may be right, somebody may be wrong, but there's still differences. So, when you have a certain vision and it's not lining up with other people, you have to divide yourself. Like you said, the man set up his own thing, started doing his own thing. Like, it's a part of mathematics. You know, it happens. It happens. And I don't like to see it in the nation, but I do understand, and I understand, and I overstand that has always been a thing. You know, it has always been a thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess what Noble Drali said, I could count on one hand and have fingers left over. You know, I don't know.
Yep.
But that's what it sounds like to me.
Straight.
Yeah.
And then also too the when you look at his message, you have to see that there was a transition. There's no way that you know you can look at his timeline and then keep going back to before Mecca. Like, why are you going back to before Mecca? There should be no conversation. There should be no bringing up anything from before Mecca, because he wasn't fully seasoned in the knowledge. He was just a novice talking crazy. It was only after he got back that everything started making sense. Only when he got back did he start talking about human rights over civil rights, recognizing the constitutional enforcement position. Same thing that Noble Drew Ali was talking about. That every individual is born free and equal. So why are we treated like we're not equal? Has to be something. He was treated like he wasn't equal. What you go do? You ain't got a nationality. Jews felt like they weren't treated equal. What they do? They went and got a nationality, even though it's a fake one that they made up. They still went and got a nationality, even though it's fake. And with their fake nationality, they rule the world with a fake nationality. So what would our people do if they got one that was actually theirs? What type of transition would our people make if they did what all these other people did who they claim that they love, had a nationality, or started embracing it? Right? Think about Muhammad Ali declaring his nationality, going from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. Look what happened in his life. Look what happened in Malcolm X's life when he declared his nationality, El Hajj. Look what happened with Timothy Drew's life when he declared his nationality. Look at the transition that happened. It was a natural growth. Stuff got better. It was only the people who were around them that made stuff suck. But things got better after they declared their nationality. Like, stuff wasn't the same after they declared their nationality. Like, what things got better when the slaves left the plantation. Stuff wasn't as bad as they thought stuff was bad. I just started watching the Underground Railroad series, and it's the same thing.
Oh.
These people aren't trying to.
Hold up,
Huh?
Which one? The one with Journey Smollett on the Oprah Winfrey joint?
I'm not sure. I'm watching it on the internet box, but I guess so. It's something new. It just came out. I think it has like 10 episodes or something just passed or something. But you know, it might be that. I'm not sure exactly what it's showing on or whatever. But it's called the Underground Railroad, and it's going through that whole, you know, the whole thing again of Europeans helping our people get out of slavery, and then when our people get out of slavery, all they gotta do is stop dressing like niggers, and then they're free, and then they could get a job, and then they could use their, you know, speaking skills and writing skills. And oh my gosh, how is it that you know how to read and write or whatever? None of your people know how to read and write. Oh, well, when I was a slave, master gave me the book all the time, or master whatever, or we used to take the book in the back and we used to hide books and read and all that. So what is this thing about slaves didn't know how to talk and all this that people are talking about, trying to justify some ignorant BS on you? And then our people ride with it. Oh yeah, we're some slaves. We're some African descendants of some whatever that lost our culture and all that stuff. And you're talking about follow the North Star? That's astrology. What do you mean you lost your culture, but you're following North Stars to freedom and all this? Obviously, they weren't that dumb. They aren't that dumb if they're gonna know to follow the North Star to freedom. You're not that dumb if you know, hey, get to a stream, because running water is gonna lead to more running water.
That's a fact.
Those aren't things that prove ignorance. Those are things that prove actually intelligence. You know how intelligent you have to be to evade the slave captors all night and make it to freedom? Slave patrol walking up and down the place, and you're escaping. Remember, slave patrol, beat cops, making sure, beat cops walking around, making sure that you get back on the plantation. And then you evade all them, and not just for yourself, but with 20 people on your back. And once they got out of slavery, they stopped dressing like niggers. They put on some proper shirts and trousers and stuff like that, start wearing dresses. You know what I mean? Put on a turban, because you can't comb those naps and all that stuff, the slave naps. Wrap your head in something, and then you're free. And then you're free. That's it. So that mental slavery is a killer of our people. That mental slavery would mess you up. So it's not about being a mental slave. It's not about not knowing your identity, not knowing your culture. It's not about that. Once it's about that, here comes struggling, here comes the burning building and the fire hoses and all the other stuff that our people like to complain about. Here it comes, just because. And then it's gotten, to the extreme now, where when's the last time anybody heard about St. Vincent and volcanoes and stuff like that? Anybody heard anything? Or did they pretty much just get swept under the COVID rug?
I don't even know, bro. I don't even know.
All of a sudden, island disappeared all of a sudden, just like that, off the face of Earth. Island just disappeared. Nothing. I even seen a video. There was a video somebody posted about some man in India talking about, I don't know what they're talking about because there's nothing going on here. Everybody's shopping. Everybody's all this. It's like, what are they showing? What are they showing you people on the news? What is that? We don't know what that is. In India, nothing's happening here. Everybody's okay. Right?
Yeah.
The hell is going on? And again, all of it's going on because of the Negro, black, colored people being incompetent. Because everybody else is standing up for something. It's only the Negroes. Everybody else standing up for something.
Facts. So yeah, man. That's crazy. I mean, and people feel like that a lot of places, even here. They're like, man, I'm not saying people didn't catch this thing or get allegedly diagnosed with it or whatever, but, I don't know. I just haven't seen, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's crazy, man. But I think it's a crazy day now too, because society is definitely divided again. You know, this is again going back to division being a real part of the mathematics being lived out right now. You know, they just caused another divide in society by saying, like, you know, people who've been vaccinated can do certain things without the mask. And then, you know, people who haven't should still wear the mask if they haven't been vaccinated. And, you know, it's all incentives just to get more people to take the vaccine. And so that they could get some of that fiat for the Memorial Day weekend that's coming up. But I don't know, man. We'll see what happens after that. I don't feel like whatever it is, it's just completely over right now. I'm not saying it's real or not. I'm just saying at this point, anything could happen. It could go back the other way and shit open back up.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, but yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy times, bro. It's crazy times. But yeah, so that's what they're saying. And where I'm at, they're trying to get more people to get vaccinated. And they're offering, you know, a dinner with the governor, a free glass of wine. And I'm like, well, what happened to all of these protocols? They say, like, if you get the shot, you're not supposed to drink or anything after that.
Yeah.
How are they offering now glasses of wine with the shot? They're offering a glass of wine with the shot. You know what I mean? Like, double whammy. Like, yeah, that's what they're doing now, bro.
That's crazy.
There's an incentive to take the shot.
Cheers,
it's crazy, bro.
Cheers, boy. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers for the shots. That's crazy because when you talk about the great divide because of this thing, I was at the freaking grocery the other day, and this man didn't have his mask. This lady said, "Yo, I don't care about your exemption." She didn't even work there or anything, yo. She didn't even work there. I don't care about your exemption. I don't care if you're exempt. You're gonna infect everybody and all this. I was like, this lady is tripping. Why is she tripping? Why you just let this man go do what he has to do? Like, how is this a bother? And then the thing with, well, if you got the shot, then there should be no issues. So if they're saying all these people got it, herd immunity and whatever like that, then there should be no issues also. If everybody got the shot or whatever, the only reason the stuff doesn't work. No. And if the stuff doesn't work, then why are you even giving people stuff? You still got to wear a mask and all that stuff after. You still got to social distance after. You can't do anything till you get all three of them and all that. Then obviously something's going on here. You know, obviously a little bit more is going on that people's thinking capacity disallows them to see. Because it's not supposed to be this deep. Like, there's no way that it's this deep. It can't be this deep. Because this is some evident something's going on here in your face. Or even that we're talking about El Haj. This is some evident that he knew what was up. How could you tell me he didn't know what was up? How could you say that this is not a hoax right now? How? What is really stopping it from being seen as that by the people? It has to be their self-hate. It has to be their ignorance. And then this is across the board now. This is not limited to some Negro, black, colored people that don't think. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Right? It's insane, you know. It's insane. But this is where it is. You know, once you let stateless people run the asylum, then, you know, everybody's gonna be in a jacket.
Yeah, it's getting crazy, bro. I mean, it's been wild. But yeah, man, so 14 months into it, and this is where it's at. I mean, they say in this record-breaking Operation Warp Speed and all of this. I don't know about none of that, man. I just feel like, I don't know, it's so much to weigh up. You know what I mean? Like, it's already predicted and behold, Bill Horse. We already looked at that. You know what I mean? Page 444. There was some wicked stuff going on in the 60s, you know? And it's like that energy really still didn't really go anywhere. Like, it's been what it is for years, you know? Them designing specific biochemical weapons. We already know with the AIDS Lace Project and all of that, and the Tuskegee experiment, the whole nine. You know, we know CDC is very suspect based off of their participation in history of events like that. So, you know, it's like, I don't know, like, you know, when do criminals or, you know, those who, well, yeah, it was a crime against humanity, to be honest. You know, when do they start getting credibility to tell people what and what not to do? I don't know. You know what I mean? But that's where it's at. So, of course, you got Negroes who are self-righteous and happy they got the vaccine and the whole nine. And, you know, I get it. Everybody's not going to not get vaccinated. Everybody's not going to get vaccinated. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I look at it like this, though. You know, a lot of people complain about system and systemic racism and we need it to stop. Well, it's like, yo, the creator just threw everybody the perfect situation. Like, if they really felt like that, if you didn't want it to come back up, just don't get vaccinated.
Yeah, right.
But then, of course, you're going to have people who say, well, if I don't, I can catch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that was an easy strategy. Everything that you claimed being systemic oppression was just shut down because of a pandemic. And what these Negroes do, run right out there to get it open back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, get it open back up. Shot in the arm, shot in the vein, the whole nine. So I see like it's really a lot of lack of strategy. Because if you don't get the shot, they can't really open back up. They can't do nothing with a society like that. You know? You can't do nothing with a society like that. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me, you know?
Yeah.
But that's how I was looking at it. I'm like, dang, like, if y'all really want it shut down, like, this is it. This is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is, man. But yeah, so you know, back to what El Haj Malik was on with not being Negroes. Blacks, you know, he was refusing to be labeled a black Muslim. And, you know, Moors is on the same thing today. But it's a lot of pushback. Like I said the other day, Operation Mockingbird is a real thing, man. With the fake news, and you see that trickle down to even common folks, common people who just, you know, they're not giving substance. It's a lot of opinions. And these opinions are not based off of facts. So Moors are getting the stigma from ignorant people, though. So, I mean, we kind of see the same thing playing out today, bro. And I'm just like, when is the end date for all of that shit? Like, when, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It can't go on like that forever. The ignorance has to be dispelled. I guess we all could do more. I know I could do more. But, like, yo, the ignorance has to be dispelled, bro. It's crazy, bro. And a lot of it is by choice, you know?
That's the killer right there.
Yeah, like I said.
That's the killer.
Yeah.
That they're choosing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I see it's like, even the divide amongst Moors, you have Moors who feel more inclined to protect the image of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and then you have Moors who are more inclined to protect the image of the nation.
Yeah.
And, you know, by default, protecting the image of the nation is going to protect anything that's inherent to the nation, such as a Moorish Science Temple of America, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, some people are so into their club, and it's just like, you know, it's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess again, it's necessary because again, the wheat from the shape. You know what I mean? This is what it is. So the chips falling where they may. We see what it is. Some people, just because they're in the organization, does not make them any more better, more righteous than anybody else. And likewise, if you're not, you know what I mean, doesn't make you more better or than anybody else. But I just know there's a lot of misunderstandings. What I see today is like, man, there's so much political incorrectness. You got Moors who are moving as if we're foreigners. I know we've been talking about the concept of naturalizing versus nationalizing for decades, over a decade now. I know that has been made clear, you know, for what the position is as far as like true and living Moors, you know, and knowing that we're indigenous to this land, you know, North, South, and Central America. Politically speaking, we should not be moving like we're foreigners. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. What I mean by that, did you get the image that I sent with the definition of the American Indian?
No, let me pull it up.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, where do you send it to?
Even like what I see now, you got
Where do you say? You mean the regular definition? The copper colored or the?
Oh yeah, no, I sent you another one to your Mango Ontario Gmail.
All right.
The American Indian joint. Yeah. That one, yeah, I sent you 3 definitions. You want to put those, if you got them, let me know. Before I should have checked with you previous, but I did send them.
Yeah,
if you want to put.
Yeah, no, I never got them.
Yeah,
there's nothing in the email.
Nah, you didn't get them.
No, I didn't get them.
Oh.
Nothing in the email.
Okay, I thought to send that to you before we close out. Okay?
All right, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, to the brother Sideline Bay who keep asking for the number, like I see in the chat on the YouTube. Like if you pay attention to the bottom of the screen, the number is rolling across the bottom of the screen. Then, like you say, Sons of Allah with Ms. Rain L, Kudjo L, and the number is right there, 563-999-3403. Yeah. So, yeah, man. So that's. I wanted to get into that because a lot of people downplay Moors like we're tripping and we're not indigenous to America and Moor is some sort of European name or whatever, you know. And that's not true. It's like all of these other non-begirs is getting light of being something that they're not. These are the first brands. But yeah, I can't believe we already 1 hour down, fam.
Yo, it's time does not play around, bro.
Yeah. Yo, time is moving. Yo, but we got a couple of callers in the queue, though.
Yeah.
If you want to get to them, I'll try to pull up the image I shared and send it to you.
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
Meanwhile.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, then, cool. I'm going to take the first caller 218-673. Peace, man. You live on the air. You with this? Islam, boy. Islam. Yes. Northwest of Mexico. Oh, man, y'all. Started with one of my majors, but, yes, Malcolm X, El Haj, El Haj. I can't even think of it from transition value, right? Shabazz, right. No, Shabazz. El Shabazz, yes. Now, I'm in this shell here for 65 years past October. And I know this is more than my first time around because of how I came in and what I've done, through that time period. And when we came back talking about human rights, that was way before I ever even had a idea there was a noble prophet Drew Ali. Yet I got it. And the thing is, it's so interesting how you were talking about division, and then you find that there's double division, and then they have to cross back over the division and divide some more. And the idea is that when you talk about the Project Mockingbird, and you talk, they have other trick names, paperclip and all that nonsense. But the fact is that those of us who kept abreast of things always knew there was a war, a silent war, because they didn't honorably declare war. But we always knew that. And, the thing is that, like the prophet told us, a battle that can't be, told in words. And we know that there were certain effects, like Brother Kudjo was speaking on the Amos connection as one, aspect of the mental effect. And so, like doctors, and dealing with all forms of diseases, there are certain measures you take to sort of deal with that condition, but those are temporary measures. And then the division comes in when the temporary measures are taken on as if they should be a permanent measure. So when we had the Stephen Biko cry and the James Brown cry and we had so many different ways of how to cure an inferiority complex. Oh, yes. That was supposed to be temporary measures. And then we had those who got a hold of high science, but it was mixed with the temporary measures used as the highest form of the principle, when their high science had already told them mathematics was the highest form. Yet they ignored it. And, so the point is that all this confusion is part of a double type, triple type, multiple type dividing mechanism that went into the work, like the monkey wrench that went into the works. So that every time one school of thought comes across, then it's split up and any which way it could act as though it's what the original school of thought brought. If they could take a part of that and push something else out that would help cause confusion, so then that became part of that. And then when Elijah Shabbat said, You know, they make the devil look like an angel and the angel look like a devil. And so there's a whole lot more into that. And when you mentioned about get your hands out my pocket, well, that was even a coded message as well. I mean, because it worked on many levels. That's the way knowledge and information and words and sounds and everything work. Because everything has to, come from the source of the highest to get to the lowest. So, everything we see and we're dealing with, if we can remember chapter 1 of Perspective 7, then we would know the cycle. Meaning, in order for something to slow down enough to get here, then we know that density is part of what's going to come out of the picture. So we know the picture ain't to be relied on except to the extent that the energy within it and the growth within it. So, these all would be minor prophets based on what they were saying and sharing. And the fact is because he was into something. We're talking about El-Hajj Shabazz, Malik Shabazz, El-Shabazz, was into, he made a journey, a life journey. So, if you didn't walk in his shoes and then make that journey, you could never figure out what he really bought. Yet there's always that higher level of vibration that sends those symbolisms that is like ABC communication, 1, 2, 3 communication, fundamental communication, so that those who are at certain levels will get it. And those who don't, well, it's because it couldn't have been their time to get it.
Right.
Yet the greatest portion of the struggle for those who get it is to become more humble and it's so hard to stay as calm as water, because it's not like a surrender anything. It's just that, I find myself calling the guy in the store some unnecessary names for insisting on me wearing a mask and then acting like he's such a big guy and you can't even come here, don't come back, and stuff like that. And I've always been a peaceful guy in my life, but there are limits, and but those of us who get it, when we realize that it's by grace that we got it. And it's also by the fact, it's the truth, that those who were supposed to take those potent seeds that were planted, and the watering of it would be the sharing with the people. And they didn't do it. Now, so it was late in my years that I even got wind of such a thing at the Mordecai's Temple. And then after a certain amount of time attending, I was still denied the access to my own circle travel. I couldn't buy it. I had to get mine from the FBI website. Now, I'm not saying that in a form of complaint, because I, walk looking at everything as a lesson. And so I saw that if I had not been so denied, I would not have got the information I needed from the FBI website. so the thing is to say again, when we absent all complaint, that's being humble. And look at everything as some type of lesson or message. Look at all things as if there's a messenger involved who's making sure that whoever you are, this is your lesson. This is your message. You need to get this before you go forward. Because this is part of the transition you need to make as an individual for the greater good. And you know, so that's the beauty of it all to me. Is that when you could see how everyone in their own right served properly according to their potential, school of thought that educated or miseducated in some cases. You know, then we got a fair playing field, because by the grace, we may not have had to go through that. We may not have had to bump our heads against that particular wall, but there's a wall for us. Now, I tell you, I have so much joy in me because I had an opportunity to watch the live stream copy videos of the various schools of thought of Moors. Those conscious, unconscious, semi-conscious, consciously aware, active, inactive, participation. And I tell you, it is, wow. It is a divine and national movement in effect. And you know, just knowing again, bringing chapter 1 into the measure, wow, it's like a demonstration of the whole chapter. Seeing what each one is doing and saying, seeing how each school of thought had just so much, and then something blocked it. And seeing how another school of thought is taking on another part of it. So like the arm, leg, arm, head is really coming together. And I am definitely glad to see and hear that and know that. And I mean, from the beginning, as I said, when I got into the knowledge in my late years, my major thing was looking for the real transitional measures that need to be taken. And so, you know, like I said, it gives me joy when I start looking at the various factions, for lack of a better word, school of thought, I think is a better word, of Moors out there. And now I know when I was first introduced to that whole concept of naturalization, I was, what the hell? You know, I'm I'd say a baby in the joint, and I knew that wasn't gonna do it at all. And when I tried to speak to it, I was disconnected. So to find that it comes back and it's on live now, and it's in such a manner where the group is challenging it, and then the same group that's challenging it is a part of another group that has something else being challenged. And I mean, so, and the thing is that the truth is not gonna be deterred. It's not gonna be forsaken. The truth will live, and I'm just glad about that. I'm overjoyed about that. And you know, wow. I could just see what we got coming now. So, keep the faith. Thank you for your forum. Thank you for all your active participation and all that you do. Man, I thank you. And I don't want to, overspeak again, but I just sharing that did a joy in my heart about the whole real life situation as demonstrated in accordance with or in tune with a greater understanding on the chapter 1 of the Sacred Feather. And I say peace on that, Islam.
Islam, more. Appreciate that.
Islam,
Appreciate
indeed.
that.
Peace, brother. L. We appreciate you adding on with that. Well said. Well said. That being said, thank you, brother, for tuning in, chiming in, and adding on. We're going to go to the next caller, though. And again, thanks, brother Dunn L. Always good to hear from you. All right? Always good. Thank you. Peace and love. Peace and love. One. All right. Hold up. Let's see. All right. So we have 34239. You live on the air. Peace, man. You with us? Yeah, I'm with y'all. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you more, Islam.
Yeah. All right, Islam. I want to give thanks to the brothers putting this knowledge out and allowing everybody to hear it and being able to witness the actual prophecies that's happening. I guess you could say. I just want to thank Kudjo L for how he speaks. I'm not really sure exactly who's the other brother, but I believe I know who you are. I just don't want to mispronounce your name. I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but I ain't want to do that. I don't have a question, but I have a question. What do you guys think about the shot, right? So, I was just thinking, the shot in a number. I don't know why. For some reason, it speaks something to me. Maybe I was just reading something, but it had to deal with some type of I don't know, man. I just know it means something with the shot being probably like the mark of the beast, right? Because it's a number or something like that. And then I see people, with what could you say? Like they got issues with their body, metallic issues or seizures, and people's faces going limp and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't want to drag on because I'm gonna have too much to say, and I don't want to do that. So I just want to thank y'all. That was my only question about that shot, and added with a number so it can pertain to something because I know it means something, but I don't know how to connect it. But I just want to thank y'all and humbly yield.
Islam.
Facts, indeed. Islam. Yeah, I'm not sure about a number. You heard about the number before, bro? I never heard of it coming with a number or nothing. I'm sure they number it in a database or something like that, so I wouldn't be surprised. But what you know about that, Kudjo?
The only thing that would be somewhat relative or whatever as far as the number would when people play their gematria games or whatever like that, it being something. But it's also I don't know if it wouldn't be an acronym, but it's a short form, COV ID. So it's an identification. It's an identification for individuals. Looking at it like how they put how they put the stuff on the cow ear or the sheep ear or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at it as. If it's a number like that, it's a numbering
Okay.
them, numbering the people who get it. Go ahead, Mo.
What I'm trying to get is from what I read, right? Because I'm into deep into the reading because you always say read, study. So a lot of things that I read deals with numbers and alphabets and hieroglyphics and stuff like that. Like the I is supposed to be the I, and the actual letter is the 9th number. So then COVID-19 to me is the identifier definitely speaks to me because it has to be identified with something. But the identifier of the numbers and the I meaning something, it being just an I is like crazy to me. But it's I swear I can't always put this thing together. Shit. It's like numbers mean something. Like you guys say all the time, and I read it. It has to mean something. But it's like man, it's like people are taking a shot that's not really a shot. And then you had said something about cannon being a gun. That's also talking about a shot. I don't know how to make it click, man, but it's something to me. And it's like it's a ritual of some kind. Because if Mason is dealing with numbers and he's dealing with alphabets and he's dealing with all types of stuff, reason why I say it because it's like it connects something to me. But I want to drag. I want you guys to do what you guys do. Sorry about that.
No, you're straight. You're straight. And again, that could be something that's directly speaking to you. You know what I mean? It could be a message that's directly just talking to you with regard to its validity or lack thereof. And if whatever's talking to you is leading you toward, you know, this thing not being legit or this thing being some type of, you know, operation against the people, then follow that intuition. You know what I mean? Don't even play deny it or whatever. Just see where it leads you. You know, because with a lot of this going on right now as well, it opens up this ability for people to tap into their self again, because you're not bogged down with work, or you're not bogged down with, even people who are working right now, work's not really as crazy as it was, you know, before all this. So there's an opening right now where, you know, if your mind's in the right place, you're gonna get downloaded. So download what you can, make whatever you can of it. You know, but again, in this realm of things that we don't have access to as far as the information, it's really hearsay. Somebody said, we don't know somebody to talk to directly about it. I wouldn't take everything offline or wherever you're researching as that's what it is, you know, because you can't know with stuff like this. You can come up with your conclusion based on whatever evidence you find out, but don't get too engrossed in trying to figure some stuff out, because like we said earlier, we already got Tuskegee experiments figured the stuff out already. You know, the stuff's already figured out. It's not anything to really look at like that, you know. Even though we get why you would be looking at it or paying attention to it or whatever the case is, but don't let it be something that you don't already know what's up, because you should know what's up. You know what I mean? If you're studying like that, things like this are supposed to just be confirmation markers for us, you know, to know that we're in the right place or we're off. You know what I mean? We know Moors who they just put their vaccine exemption to their human resources department, and they didn't have any issues. Matter of fact, everybody at the slave is mad because how come they didn't have to get it and whatever? Because, you know, on the slave, everything's confidential. You know what I mean? But they're walking around their plantation with no prick, and then everybody's mad. How come he doesn't have to take the thing? You know, but nothing could be talked about because that's confidential info. You know, and if they're gonna say you could be exempt from it, then that should let you know something. You know, just the fact that you could be exempt from it should let you know something. You know, and then
that's a fact too, because
yeah, go ahead, more.
no, I was just saying it's a book. I was telling you, my other laptop is down right now, so I can't send you that right now.
All right, no worries.
Might have to go in on that another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the book about Native American medicine and the pine tree, bro. I didn't know it had that many attributes, but for what they were saying that this is, you know, as far as respiratory and all of that, like the pine tree is a healer for stuff like that. Like number one, it's a natural incense, like the pine needles and all of that. It could be used for aromatherapy, you know, but it's also used to clear up the respiratory, you know. So like I don't know, people have different traditions. I'm not saying that everybody is going to even have faith in that. You know, I do. I have some sort of faith in what nature has left for us. I can't sit here and say, you know, I eat every vegetable and fruit and herb because I don't, but I do understand that these things have its functions. So when I see something like that, like, you know, the pine tree, you know, has respiratory, it has attributes to improve the respiratory. And all of these things, I'm looking at it like, you know, well, maybe we need to get back to nature. I'm not, you know, not telling anybody what to do, what not to do. But I'm just saying from what they're saying it is, it's not like nature didn't put things here for us to utilize, you know, if it's that, if it is that, you know, like you got to look at that. So I'm just like, you know, it's already here if we really if we really know what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as nature and healing goes. You know, and again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know it all. But one thing that always resonated with me was physician heal thyself. You know?
Yeah, for real.
Physician for thyself.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what I mean? That's where we at, you know? So.
And then another perspective with the whole quote unquote pandemic thing. If we're looking at it, let's just say it is a real thing out there or whatever, right? Then go back into ancient times and realize that all the calamities that showed up was because people were out of alignment with God. So if the people are this out of alignment, that they got 3 masks on and all this stuff, they ain't praying to get rid of stuff. They don't wear 3 masks. They don't trust their creator. They don't trust their prophets. They don't trust anybody who came to save them. That's how out of alignment they are. They're trusting in some doctor guy giving them some shot. They're not trusting in their creator. They're not trusting in nature. They're not going to go get vitamin C to go cure themselves. They're going to go get vitamin D, lay in the sun and charge up and let the stuff sweat out of you. They're not do that. They're going to go take shots or whatever, which lets you know where the people are at. You know, and then it also lets you know who's in control. Yeah. But, you know, this is just where it is. You know, there's so many different angles that it could be looked at. And it's just making sure that the angle that we're looking at it at is in our best interest, not in a place of have us more confused or have us more lost or whatever, which again is why we bring up Tuskegee experiments, because they did this already. They're just doing it on a mass.
Yeah.
They're doing it on a mass level now. It's not just the niggers now. Everybody's a nigger right now. And they're lining up for their nigger shots. Everybody's lining up. Everybody wants to be the lab rat for CDC or whoever. Everyone. Men, women, children, Asiatic, orange, blue, pink, doesn't matter. Everybody's in line. But the interesting thing, I remember Brother Sundiata and Brother Kush were talking about on their live. How come the squirrel doesn't have a mask or whatever? How come people walk in their dogs with no mask on? This stuff is so, it's deadly. Everything should be getting it. All the birds flying, they should have their mask on. It should be, 6 feet. Why isn't it like that? When a squirrel run by on a mask, then probably something's going on. Probably something to be very concerned about. Just like with the India tsunami, then everybody said they saw the animals leaving. They didn't know what was going on. They saw all the animals running in a different direction. Then everybody's thought, oh wow, where's the ocean? Let's go check to see what's going on. This is amazing. And all the animals are running a different direction. And they weren't smart enough to know what was happening. So this is where it's at right now. It's and same thing Joali talked about. They're trying every weak mind right now. Every weak mind is being tried right now on every level. Forget your mind's being tried to get you not to be a Moor. Your mind's being tried on every level right now. Mind's being tried to the point where they're putting the deadly chemicals that's in the foods, in the ingredients, and people still buying it. They're telling people what they're doing to them. And people are still signing up for it. Knowing what's going to happen to them. Knowing that this line leads to the slaughterhouse and they're going in line. They're looking and seeing people putting their head in the guillotine up there and they're lining up. If people are lining up for a guillotine, that should let you know something. Pick up your cat and go in the house and stay out of these people's way.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because it's either ignorance is no excuse, but either they don't know the history with the CDC and all of that, or they do know and they just don't care, or they really just don't know. They only heard about it because man knows not by being told. I don't think they studied it well enough, nor do some people care, because there's a lot of people who just wanted to go back to how it was. So they're like, man, I just want to get back on the plantation, whatever it takes, and people are doing things out of different desperations,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not making an excuse for anybody or speaking for anybody. I'm just observing.
Yeah.
I'm just observing, like, this is what it is right now. But
well,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yo, so someone in the chat. Someone in the chat said. Someone in the chat said the hood can't afford organic, but they could afford $500 sneakers though. They could afford $2,000 phone. They could afford $5,000 fake hair from some horse. They could afford get their nails done. They could afford belt cost $300, shirt cost $5,000. They could afford that though, but they can't afford organic. Please. And we're not even saying organic, like we're not even saying organic on some Dr. Sebi food list. We're just saying fruits and vegetables. Just get some fruits and vegetables. We're not even saying alkaline or not and all that stuff. We're just saying opposed to pork chops and corned beef and mince meat and tails of oxes and hoofs of pigs and all that stuff. How about some apples? Buy some apples. You know what I mean? Buy some oranges. Buy some grapes. I don't care if they're seedless or not. There's some grapes. One day just leave the thing and the 200 that you spent was just on vegetables and fruits, and just see how you feel after that, you know. And then you make a decision, you know. Or before you say 500 for those authentic J's or whatever, you know what I mean? You know, yeah, you know, we got to get these new limited edition lining up around the corner and all that stuff because you want to be the first one. And then you got your little thing inside so you don't crease these shoes, and you're scrubbing the bottom because you don't want the bottom to get dirty and all that type of stuff. You're going through all that. How about not go through that and go buy some food? Buy some real food.
Bro, it's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't go shopping like all last year during the pandemic. I think I brought maybe like 3 or 4 shirts, bro, because there wasn't nothing going on. Like that was
yeah, big time.
You know, real talk. Not down. I didn't go shopping at all last year. And so a couple weeks ago, I went to the store with a brother. We went to the mall, and this is my first time in the mall in over a year. I'm like, you know, let me see what the aftermath is. Half the stores is closed. They don't have anything good in stock. So then we walk into the sneaker store, and I was amazed at the price on the sneakers, bro.
Yeah.
Like sneaker $350. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like before the pandemic, like as far as Nikes go, like the highest, the most expensive Nike that I knew of was the foam posits, bro.
Yeah.
Now they got all types of shoes they want $400 for, $350. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, bro. Like, this is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, these is exclusive Jordans and all of that, but yo, 400, 500. They had if I said the price, y'all wouldn't even believe me. They had a pair of Air Force Ones. They was talking about letting go for $7,000, bro.
What?
Y'all are out of your mind. This is not real right now.
$7 grand.
7 stacks, bro.
$7 grand for Air Force Ones, yo? What the hell are those?
Air Force, bro.
That's crazy.
I don't know what. I'm like, yo, this. I don't know if this. I thought it was a joke. I didn't believe it for weeks, and then I went into another sneaker store. They had more regular like prices. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, I still should be able to get a pair of Air Max for, you know, not having to spend $200. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I'm not the type to complain, but I wouldn't ever pay that price, bro, for a pair of J's. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? That's crazy. $350. And I'm like, y'all think this is regular. Like, I refuse, bro. I refuse, bro. Because, you know, some of these sneakers be questionable. The Jumpman logo is all crooked. I'm like, you know what I mean? Jumpman symbol is not leaning in. That shit is straight up. Straight up. You know what I mean?
Got the legs together.
Like, I don't know.
The legs together.
Yeah, they got one leg broke. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's what people that talk about these exclusive. Yeah.
Bro, I went to this was probably like 3-4 years ago or whatever. When I started coaching this high school team, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get me some shoes or whatever. And these people told me 300 was the lowest price or whatever. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about right now? What do you mean? What do you mean 300 is the lowest? Like, what do you mean by that? Well, you know, you're not going to use these for ball. And then they're showing like Air Force Ones and they're showing like all these different shoes or whatever that are, you know, 109 to maybe like near 200. Like, nah, you don't want to use those you want to use these ones over here because of the, you know, the whatever fine print, make these shoes the best shoes for basketball or whatever. And then every shoe that they're showing me is low cut shoes and all this. I'm like, who plays in low cuts? Who plays in low cuts? What is this? What do you mean no ankle support and all that? You know what I mean? You know, and then you look at the game and you realize, okay, oh no wonder ain't nobody doing nothing. They're jumping and all this stuff. Everybody's shooting right now. You don't need no ankle support to shoot. You know, especially shooting from half court or whatever. They ain't even playing no offense. Just shoot from half court and get it in. If this is the game now, then I don't need any shoes. I play barefoot. The hell you need sneakers for? You know, put on some Crocs and go out there and freaking kick people's ass. You know, messed up, you know, messed up.
But yeah, we got another caller.
Yeah,
we got another caller. Part 770. I seen you drop, but we're gonna get to caller 501-410. Peace, man. You live on the air. Islam, peace, Morris.
Peace.
Islam, more. This brother makes some down here in Little Rock with Shango, over Shango.
Islam, Morris.
Arkansas, more. What's going on? Islam, good brother.
Peace, Morris. Everything's good, yo. Everything's good. How's the? You finish up the front? You finish up the front of the house?
I'm still working on it right now.
All right.
I put a little fence up about 2 weeks ago. And I got some new posts that I was at the Amazon plant. I've been working at this Amazon building. You know, I've been posting a few videos,
yeah,
erasing them. But yeah, I've been getting a whole bunch of free 4x4 lumber. You know, lumber's up, but I've been getting that free lumber from them, and they've been looking at me crazy. And I'm coming home, you know what I'm saying, to my house. So
yeah.
I can tell that this is all good.
Get it in, yo. Get it in.
Right.
Straight.
But man, y'all, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man, all you brothers is right on point. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. I got some food on the grill right now. I'm standing over the grill. I'm in the garden, you know what I'm saying, greens and kale. I'm eating fresh out the garden right now. So I kind of had to work a little bit over the side hustle today. But man, y'all are right on point right now. The energy with all this COVID BS, it's really testing. It's really testing you. Let me speak freely, boys. I'm gonna just speak freely. It's testing your gangster. That's really what it's doing.
Mm.
Whatever you about, it's testing you. If you ain't ready for this, it's gonna hit you over the head. So a lot of you Moors, just be ready, man. You know what you at least said, study self. And right now, in my life right now, just to interject a little bit, I'm really finding out and learning fascinating things about myself.
Mm.
I can't lie, more. I can't lie. The more I buck and rebel against everything else, it's like the most I open up more and more and more and more every day. And so I can't even put all the positive stuff on my channel because a lot of people be thinking I'm lying. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother. They'll be thinking I'm lying. And I'm living the quality of life I'm living right now from how you guys back in the day when I first met you, Kudjo, and Mantis 9 back in the days, man, when it was RB Bay, and it was you, brother, just, you know what I'm saying, coming with the 3-4 hour, you know what I'm saying, blog talks, and me falling asleep on them, listening to you, brother, waking back up and 15 years later, like, oh, God.
The good old days.
This shit is real. Will you hear me? Boy, it's so real. I love you, brothers, man. And I'm probably, I apologize, man. I'm not very scripted, but, you know, I'm straight off the cuff. I'm just, you know, I'm real, man. But I love it, man.
Oh,
I love everything about what's going on right now. And anytime you more get a chance to buck. You know what I'm saying? But do it right. You know, it's the way you do some things sometimes. So, you know, it's all good, man. It's all good, man.
Oh, let me ask you this question. When you say, just for new people, when you say buck do it right, you could elaborate on that, because we have another saying, pick your battles or whatever. But where are you going at with with what you're saying.
When I say that, yeah, right. I feel you, Grand Sheik. When I say that, let me explain that a little bit because some new Moors, they may not be able to articulate their position as some of us Moors has been in this for a while now, and that's kind of what I'm saying. If you know you're not ready, if you honestly really know you're not ready, hey man, don't get out there and get your head bust. I'm gonna be honest with you. I done got my ass kicked a couple times, but I'm not, suggesting other brothers, you know what I'm saying, go through that. But you're gonna have to go through the fire. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna go through the fire, and like you said, Chief, pick your battles. Sometimes you might have to just fold and say, hey, okay, this ain't the battle I need to have. And one thing that I did learn was that, and I know this is Sons of Allah. I know some sisters listening to this too. But when I came into the movement back in, I think it was about early 2002 or 3 or 4, I seen that video with Brother Taj and Abdullah, and that's when everything started changing. But I call this, jumping on a plane with a woman. If you meet a sister and if y'all end up moving in together or whatever, I always say, man, have your parachute, because some of these sisters, and I'm not knocking all of them, but some aren't. They aren't very receptacle to this information, and you'll be clashing, and you'll be trying to move forward with the with the Moorish info, and then you're really battling your sister, that you really want to be with. But only thing I can tell brothers is, man, hey, just button your shirt to the top, man. Don't ever get on an airplane without no parachute. Don't ever get on a boat without knowing how to swim. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you just, pick your battles and keep your chin up. You're going to get hit, but just, man, swing back. That's all I can say, because I'm probably not the best conveyor of a message. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people I'm not the best conveyor of a message, because I always just live it, and then, me not really just trying to boast. Whenever I get the positive result out of it, it's just like, okay, well, that just empowers me to just keep going, So, man, new Moors, okay, you are definitely on the right path. If you are on this message with these two brothers, Grand Sheik Kudjo, you on the right path, man. Only thing I can say is just keep battling. It always gets worse before it gets better. But the quality of life that you're gonna have with just the national mindset trumps everything. I don't care. It's gonna trump everything, brother. Everything. With the national mindset, I've been able to pretty much incorporate, because on the lower side of me, running the street and being aggressive, being a ball player or whatever, et cetera, there's another, kind of ego or character that we have. I know all ball players, when you play ball in junior high, elementary, college, or whatever, we carry a certain kind of, you know what I'm saying, the swag or whatever, but that infused or incorporated with the nationality, it's over with. It's over.
That's straight up.
I promise you. I'm not playing. I can't look here, man. I'm trying to. I've finally been able to just calm myself down in just regular conversation, because it's so overwhelmingly. I just can't even. I can't even. Shoot, you go back to sleep if I tried to tell you. I can't even explain to you, boy. But man, look here. Like I said in a couple of my videos, man, I'll push the red button for this any day of the week. And I ain't shame. But I got a couple things I got lined out, Brother Kudjo, in a minute, man.
What's up?
Toriano, T. Shango, he got me so laced down here.
Yeah.
And I'm working on some other things. I'm working to be a little bit more, how do I say, out in their face. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually in a good position now, and now it's really time to really just go ahead and turn it up. But some of the things that I really want to do, I can't really just put online. You know what I'm saying? I just got to do it. And because I
I've had better outcomes by not having a phone, you know, in the policeman's face or whatever. When you do that, you'll get a lot. I've gotten a lot better respect than I have if I just hold on. Let me pull his phone out while you talking shit. I'm gonna talk shit back to you. No, just go ahead and handle them. Turn the phone off and handle them. You know what I'm saying? And I've learned and seen that is actually pretty much the best way to best way to go about things. So, but I'm not the best. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You know, I don't know everything, man. A lot of you brothers, you're gonna have to just go through the fire. You know what I'm saying? But I promise you, you're gonna come out on the other end. You're gonna be so crisp and clean and white. And a pretty white man, you ain't gonna understand it. So, honest to the prophet again, man, and honest to you brothers, man, because y'all helped raise me. Because I promise, man, if it wasn't for a lot of you brothers, Mantis 9 views and the sisters, and you, Kudjo, man, shoot, I'd be another nigga out here on the street, brother. I'm not even gonna lie. Real talk. Real talk.
That's true, Sean. That's just really good, man. And you know what? I relate to what you're saying as far as what it sounds like to me, how you saying like you're in a good place in life right now, and you can't put everything out there, and even if people wouldn't believe,
they wouldn't believe.
It sounds like just on the surface, it sounds like you are in that good place. It's just kind of what Noble Dry Lee was speaking about in chapter 1, when he was speaking about or what he wrote about as far as man will regain his lost estate, intelligence, and his birthright, but it's going to be done in a conflict that many of you spoken words.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it is. I don't know if I'm wrong, but
no, you're not wrong, brother.
People would be saying like that, like, you know what I mean? That's what it's.
You're not wrong. You're right on, brother. You're right on. And for example, I'm just gonna shoot straight from the hip. I'm gonna just tell y'all straight up. I'm an installer, right? I've got several different trades. So I install warehouse equipment, robotics, whatever it is, angle iron, light fixtures, it don't matter. On a lift, Genie, Skytrack, whatever. I can fly whatever. So I filled out this, I've actually been working for this company for a few years, and then Amazon came down here a couple years ago, and they opened up, started building a building about 20 miles from here, and I was a lead supervisor on that build. So when they came back this last year and started this 5-story building, they called the company and recruited me back, right? So I went back. That's why I was posting a couple of videos of me being in Amazon with the robots and all doing all that stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Excuse me. I was fired from over there, from that same building 3 times from 3 different employers. I was fired, but I ended up coming back with a different employer either a day or 2 later. And the reason why I kept getting fired is because I was bucking, because Amazon demands or they request that you take a COVID test on all their properties, right? Now, me being a Moor and being Mufti for, Chief Shango, I just got to carry myself a certain type of way. So I told him, I said, you know what, respectfully, I'm not going to be able to, help you guys out on that COVID test. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, I just don't think, I'm not here to, I'm not here to go to the doctor. I'm here to work. So they're looking at me all crazy or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you can't be on the property if, you don't take the COVID test. I'm like, okay, well, shit, bye, I'm gone. I jumped in the truck, hit my little dispatch. I said, hey, I'm going to go back to the place tomorrow, but sign me up, because I'm going to be honest with you. I was using my straw, because the company that I was with, they had steady used my straw. Every time they dispatched, they used my straw. But that's a battle that I don't even fight no more. I just, okay, accept it and go on, right? No biggie. So I told them, the guy calls me back, my supervisor says, hey, they said they don't want you back on the property. I said, well, hey, I got my nationality card. Tell them that I'm and he was like, he got quiet. Now, this is a brother. This is a brother now. He don't say nothing. I said, tell him I'm a national, I'm a Moor, and I'm just going to redo my... He still didn't say nothing, so I hung up. 2 days later, I got an email from a company called I.K. Hoffman.
any of you Moors that are online and you kind of looking for work, and I understand that we really need to be running our own businesses, but some of us don't have the finances or whatever. There's some companies out here that do honor the nationality card. I'm not going to play with you because I've been rocking like that since I got the card from RV Bay, honest to RV Bay, right? And I've been turned down a lot of times too, and I've been, been kind of frowned upon because I didn't come in there with the nigger ID card. Right? What is this? Well, why you know what I'm saying? I'm serious. I'm talking about baby. Well, what is this? Well, we don't take this. I say, yes, you do take this. And then he handed me I think it's the I-9 form. Well, I broke one of them papers down so hard to her with my Moorish card, with my Moorish nationality. She was like, well, damn, I've been in human resources for 20 years and I never read that. I said, I understand. I understand a lot of people can't read. You know what I'm saying? And so, anyway, make a long story short, I.K. Hoffman hit me. I hollered at them, boom, sent them my information, and they hired me, boom, with the nationality card. Right? So, next thing you know, the guy that the original company I was with, 2 days later, they turn around and see me walking through the Amazon building. They like, the record scratch. Like, I know this ain't that guy because I'm in a big truck outside with a big Moorish flag flying. You know what I'm saying? I don't play. Everywhere I go, my flag flying on the back of my truck. Everybody see me everywhere. So the guy looking at me, he's like, well, what are you doing back here? He called me by my straw. He said, what are you doing back here? He called me by my straw. I was like, I don't know what are you talking about? My name's not that. My name is such and such. And he's steady looking at this guy's from Poland. He runs a equipment warehouse installation company, but he's from Poland. And he's like, well, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm working. Well, he's like, hey, your name such and such. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Playing a game with them. Mm-hmm. Hey, Moors, you Moors need to stand on your thing. Stand on what you believe in, and when they look at you and call you your straw, look at them dead in their eye and say, I don't know who you're talking about. And then if that's a CID, hit them with the nationality. Boom. And they're going to fold up. Mm-hmm. I promise you they're going to fold. And that happened a couple times, and when they come to me and be like, hey, a couple of essays didn't know that I spoke Spanish. They're like, hey, Negro. I said, no, Negro, Moreno. You know what I'm saying? Get your shit right. No, Negro, Moreno. Hey, Moreno, come take the COVID. No, you go take the COVID by yourself. You know what I'm saying? I ain't taking no COVID. For nobody. So the thing is that I've always stood on it. I ain't never took a COVID. Still to this day, I done fronted with a little mask every now and then. You know what I'm saying? You walk in the store or whatever. When I know I need to go in there and get something that I really, really need, put the bullshit, I'm just fronting. Just get on down. I'm not gonna, I ain't got time, man. You know what I'm saying? But if they say, hey, you can only work here if you take a COVID shot, or you can only do this if you take the COVID,
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm gone.
I'm out.
And don't give a damn, and don't look back. So, but that's only because, that's only because I've been through this. I've studied myself. I'm continuing to study myself, and I stand on this thing, and they know it. When you get the hiccup in them, they know if you ain't studied. They know. More, I don't care what these people know, and the first thing they gonna do is act like they don't know what you're talking about. That's the first way they gonna try to deceive you. Is like, I never knew it. And you just don't smile. You just look at them like they a damn fool. I'm gonna let you quit smiling until you get your face straight. You know what I'm saying? And be looking at them dead in their eye. And then eventually they gonna feel that energy gonna come off. And they're gonna be like, boy, this is one I cannot F with. He ain't playing. So honest to you again, Greg Sheik. Honest to all the people in the chat. Honest to Todd. I can't even, man. I think this is probably the first time I've been able to talk on your chat probably in some years, but man, I'm just so honored to be a part of the movement, man. A lot of you brothers wouldn't even understand you know, where I'm coming from, it's just not even explainable, brother. It's not even explainable. Because I know before the movement, I had a little gig. You know, I drove a truck for about 8-9 years cross country, had my own flatbed. But I was just a nigga. I was just a nigga with motorcycles and cars and BS. I didn't know nothing. But coming through this movement, I'm another species. I'm another something else, man. And it's honest. I can't even explain it, brother. I'm just humbled. I'm just all at the same time, man. But yeah, man, just honest to you brothers, man. Just honest. Likewise, bro.
Honest to you, more.
I just want to add on one thing. Yeah, indeed. I just want to add on one thing to what the brother was saying about his old name and his corrected name. I just want to put this out there for anybody who's in that stage of identity achievement. I would say always look up, or not always, but always remember the case law. Linden versus First National Bank. Linden versus First National Bank. That also includes employment contracts. Right. Yeah, one of them might have it on too. Right. But and again, more about, I didn't go over. I didn't discuss everything, or I didn't say everything perfect right here in this conversation because no. What you saying, bro? I said, yeah, no doubt about it. I just was adding that on. But right, listening to Linden versus First National Bank is a landmark case as far as correcting appellation. Right, your name, right, your appellation, right. I just don't want to. I just don't want some young boys who never, spoke with me or whatever before to get the wrong impression. But more that a little bit more seasoned in this, the ones who have actually been active, we just talk and we expect the more that we're talking to kind of pretty much comprehend what level we're on. So to some of the more that are new, that you're like, well, he said this, I just don't trip. I'm a little bit more seasoned than, you know what I'm saying? So I just kind of come off a little different. But man, I love you brothers. We're all on the same page. If y'all need me, you head down south, you get down here to the Arkansas territory, down here to the Thunder Clan territory. Y'all look me up. I ain't hard to find. You can just hit me on my page if you need a place to crash. If you want to go fishing, you want to go move around in the city, just hit me up. Just hit me up. I got you. You safe down here. I promise you. And we're going to eat good. Right on, man. Love y'all, brothers, man. I'm out, bro.
Peace, more. Islam.
All right, peace, brother. Yeah. Hold on. Indeed. So that we don't have any more callers left. If anybody else has a question or a comment, you can press 1. So we don't have to drag. But I want to ask you before we close out. Oh man, hold on. We got some extra callers now. We thank everybody for raising your hand. But I wanted to throw this out there. I guess I will after we take these next 2 calls. I'm gonna just throw this out there after we take the next call.
All right.
All right. So that being said, I'm gonna go to caller 913-216. Peace, man. Hold on. Pardon me. Yeah. All right. 913-216. You live on the air. Peace, man. It's wrong. I was gonna. I'm glad you said hit 1 because I wouldn't have hit anything. I've been on the line, so I just want to make sure. Peace to you, brothers, though.
Peace, more.
Peace, bro. It hit on all cylinders. And it's funny the brother was talking about as far as being on the job site goes. And Kudjo, I've had some experiences with that, and even though they didn't work out. Some didn't work out. Some worked better than others. I learned something from every situation. So, You know, it was nothing. I learned a little bit about each function of it, and knowing the case law, and just being that. I think sometimes we get wrapped up in the information and the books, and you know, we lose sight. I think sometimes it's easy to lose sight of what it's about. You know, I think some people weaponize information and use it as a tool to, you know, beat up on people or make people make people feel inferior, and that's not what the, you know, people talk all the time about what the prophet brought. He didn't bring, you know, coming back into our best selves just to treat others the way we've been treated. You know, to the whole two wrongs don't make it right. But in reference to the job, and even you know, even I would say the place where we domicile, you know, it's one of them places people move so your children can ride their go-karts and their motorbikes without riding down the street and all the madness. And so you had one of the highwaymen. He was new. He got thumbs up from all him and his buddies. They all got go-karts or some kind of bike or whatnot. And so they get thumbs up from all the other highwaymen. And then the new one comes in trying to make a name for himself. There's a new sheriff in town. So down the street, he was going down the street one day like nothing was happening. And he saw him in the cul-de-sac. I guess he must have passed. He was waiting for him in the cul-de-sac from what he said. And so I'm out there cleaning out the garage. And I heard the whoop, whoop, whoop. And so something told me, I couldn't even see, but I knew that they down there messing with my son. So I went down there, and it was a situation and then it ended up being some confusion after the fact, because I guess after the whole event, then they came to my name, and they came to my door asking for straw man, and then my son, he told them, hey, he basically answered. He basically answered as if he didn't refute the straw man. And so that was a whole other set of circumstances. And Kudjo tell you, I call Kudjo like, man, hey, I got a situation, man. The people that, you know, the people that came by the house, and you know, they come deep, and so they came like 3-4 cars, and you know, neighbors wondering what the hell going on, and you know, being busybodies, and you know, people gossip. And so I ended up calling them back and straightening them out with the, you know, with X-Rail, and even then, I think it was real. The guy was real upset because, and I'm thinking in my mind, how can I talk about birthrights and nationality with my children and then not practice what I preach? You see what I'm saying? And so that was an opportunity for me to, hey, show my son, and you know, and things ended up working out. It was a chance for me to, you know, hey, stand on what I know, and to let him know that, hey, this is not just lip service, man. You know, you have to, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And my exact words to him is, how can I preach and teach nationality and birthright and responsibility, and this is yours, and it's state, and you know, all these things that encompass this divine and national movement. How can I do that and then not practice? So even the little, not practice what I preach. So even for the little trouble, or the little inconveniences that I had to do, but you know, hey, putting them on notice, or if you want to call it inconvenience, I just call it standing up. Let me not cast the wrong spell, but standing up for what's right and our position and his position also. Because, you know, hey, that was him, and they wanted to tow it, and whatever like that. And even the tow service people were like, they gave us on the go-kart, they gave us a deal on it. They said, hey, give us like 50, and you can come get it, because this stuff they were doing is madness. So they kidnapped me for an hour or two, and you know, I was gone after the fact. You know, rope ripped, put them on notice, and everything's been peaceful since then. So it's amazing that when it seems like have you brothers ever noticed where you feel like you walk in a certain energy and you've been mulling over certain thoughts for a week or two maybe, and then somebody comes out of the blue, or somebody mentions something or posts something in the same realm that you're walking in.
Right.
Have y'all ever noticed that?
Oh yeah, most definite.
Mm-hmm.
Most definite.
Yeah. And so when things happen, and really just getting back to the divine self. That's funny when you mentioned Indy and the animals running the other way, and then the people looking around like, what they doing? As soon as I see animals running, then I'm gone too. One of the things we were taught when we were little is that it's getting ready to rain when you see the ants coming up out of the ground, and you see the little the ant hills coming up out the ground, and you see it, then you know it's getting ready to rain. So much of this is not just about the paperwork. One of the things I've seen is not just about the paperwork. It's not about it's a combination of everything coming together. Getting back to that divine mind, that getting back to nature, being able to, not being so far removed, like you were talking about earlier, Kudjo, being so far removed that you don't even know, you don't feel. The only thing a lot of people, the signs and symptoms people go have, and the things that they're going through, the health ailment, I think some of that is a result of people they're so far removed from nature that they don't even listen to their bodies.
Yeah.
And so the body, obviously, you get kicked in the leg like, oh shit, your body is telling you, hey, something's wrong here. And so being so far removed that you don't even listen to that. And just on down the line. And we were talking about Malcolm earlier. We were talking about El Malik. And one of the things you mentioned was language. And you gave the example of the slaves. And hey, how they snuck the book away. What I'm starting to see, brother, is what I've been seeing and noticing that, like, I remember Todd saying that, if there's a certain amount of time where if you only do 3 or 4 languages to our people, you would be illiterate. Now this is page 139 out of Captain's Passage. Now this is the Smithsonian Mariners Museum. So this is the slave ship people. And I'll just read one of the excerpts out of there. It says, in North America alone, some slaves spoke predominantly German, as in parts of Pennsylvania, Dutch as in New York, French as in Quebec and Louisiana, Spanish as in Florida and later Louisiana, and even Gaelic as in North Carolina Highlands. Without a doubt, quote unquote, blacks were the most linguistically polyglot and proficient ethnic group in the Americas. So we were slaves and we came over some ship and we weren't here, and we weren't allowed to read and we were illiterate, then again, how are we finding the North Pole, or not the North Pole? How are we finding consolation? And how are we speaking the most, without a doubt, blacks were the most linguistically polyglot and proficient ethnic group in America. Polyglot meaning multiple. So we spoke multiple languages. And so when you start to see, okay, I think Kudjo, didn't he pose a question one day? I think he posed a question something like, if I can't even, I lost my train of thought. Well, I lost my train of thought. But, how is this happening? How is this happening if our people, if history happens, if it is the way that we were told? How is it that if that was the case, how would we, things aren't at all what they've been conveyed to us. And now this is coming out of the American Indian, North, South, and Central America, A. Hyatt Burrell, and this is also about language. In many of their customs, in dialect, and in tradition, they are distinctly Carib and are unquestionably offshoots of that race. And like the Caribs, they have always been noted savage.
I think you're breaking up more. Can't hear you.
Still there?
Yeah, we're here, you know.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
And like the Caribs, they have always been noted as savage, valiant fighters. In the old days, they were consistently at war with the Spaniards and were allies of the British buccaneers. And many today speak English and know Spanish. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
They are famed sailors. Now, I don't know about y'all. I don't know of no Indians that were famed sailors. No, what they call the quote-unquote traditional. Anyway, they are famed as sailors, and large numbers of men have served as seamen on sailing ships and have visited all the ports of the world.
You're gone again.
And one man.
Say after ports of the world, you broke up.
Okay. Being excellent linguists, they have acquired a working knowledge of many tongues. And one man whom I employed spoke 10 European dialects, among which was Russian. Although primarily a fishing race, yet they are also agriculturalists and cultivate gardens and fields on the mainland. They are industrious, quiet, and peaceful, and less aroused, and are well-to-do as the coconuts and ivory nuts, which abound in their territory, afford an easy means of acquiring whatever they desire. And that's just one of. Are these people then? If and like I said, in the first reference that came out of quote unquote that came out of the Smithsonian Mariners Museum. So if you let most people call it, they're the foremost authority on slavery and the slave ships and everything like that. So that is so that's really spoke to me when you were speaking about El Malik earlier, and in reference to so many things that like, hey, are just out here, and then like, why don't we know these things? Why aren't these things highlighted? And this thing, one of them things that make you go, Things that make you go, Yeah, Smithsonian be dropping it, man.
Yeah.
Smithsonian be
Smithsonian.
dropping it.
Yeah, low key dropping it.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. He said earlier. Say that again. I think he was saying earlier that I lost it just like that. Oh no, he said there's no way we can know anything. You put some things together, you have enough reference, you have enough you have enough evidence, and then you compile that. Some things just make sense. Mm-hmm. Like you look at this certain cultural things that our people do, like, hey, gold in your mouth, and then we can look back and see that folk had gold in their mouth and rubies and emeralds and diamonds in their mouth. Who does that? Mm-hmm. Nobody does that. Some stuff just makes sense. Like, come on, like, who else is it? There's another book called Red Gold. Talking about we got. I think it would be disingenuous. We gotta take the good with the bad, and in Red Gold, it talks about how you had the chiefs or the sachems, giving up their daughters to foreigners for like little trinkets, and so many, and we can look at as far as economically, I think that the sellout manifests itself in a different light in this particular cycle in time. However, you can look back and see that the more things change, the more things stay the same. So, we've always been, our own worst enemy. We've always, for lack of a better word, played with language and kind of made it our own and, created different dialects. And, it's still one people. But the customs were different. But yet these were the same people. And I know I'm jumping all over the place. We kind of touched on, you guys have kind of touched on several topics tonight. So I was trying to hit on all of them and kind of add my 2 cents in.
Give thanks.
Along the way.
Give thanks.
Help expound on that. Because was that you, Brother Measures, that said everybody you spoke on it earlier about everybody having everybody, even though collectively we're a nation, even within our nation, they're different. People see things differently. Yeah, that's a fact. It reminds me of that. Reminds me of that movie Vantage Point, and I think you hit the nail on the head because I think sometimes because some of us don't see eye to eye. You see the verses online, and the international community is looking to us, and so I think that one of the things that we can do is that's a beautiful point that you mentioned that, and it's important for it's important for all of us, no matter how seasoned we are, to examine the fact that there was a movie called Vantage Point. They were all at the beginning of the movie. There was an explosion, and I think there were like 5 or 6 different people. Now they were all there, but then but they all had a difference the way that they laid the movie out. Everyone, even though everyone was still at the same place that got bombed, but everybody had a different story to tell based on wherever their vantage point was or wherever they were located in the vicinity of whatever's happening. And that was kind of cool, and it went over my head then. But it means that I can think back and you triggered something in me that made me go back there and examine that and really see how even being at the same place, if we standing in different places, then we're gonna see we're gonna have a completely different view of somebody else that's maybe 300 to 500 yards away. Our perspective is gonna be a little bit different, and I think it's important to highlight that because that doesn't mean that he's wrong. That doesn't mean that she's wrong, and that doesn't mean that anybody else is wrong. It just means that based on your position at that particular time, you see things. Your vision, your visual of what happened is unique to your position. That doesn't mean that anybody else is wrong, and I think that's something that we need to highlight. We should highlight a little bit more because even that may be smart. That may we look within and be a little bit more empathetic to people who might have a different vantage point when it comes to what how we see things. Now, how we see it and what it is, that's a whole other story. But there's no reason why collectively. There's no reason why collectively we can't. Like the glass being half empty, half full.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
We're gonna
argue about half full or half empty. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna be. I mean, that's how it is. So yeah, man. But I appreciate your recap and add on for everything. But we have 2 more callers. Okay, I'm
peace and love,
yes,
bro.
We appreciate that. Indeed, peace, Noble. All right, 1. All right. So that being said, thank everybody for tuning in. We're gonna get to the next caller. Caller 314-203. You live on the air. Peace, man. Peace, Morris. How y'all doing today?
Islam, more. Peace.
All is well. How about yourself? Okay. Man, I never talked to y'all before. I just wanted to call in and say I appreciate all the work y'all done. I'm on RB Bay right now, man. Big up to your mom, the prophet, Kudjo, Miz, and I just have maybe a few questions I want to throw out there.
Go ahead,
First
man.
question to you, brother Miz. As far as the paperwork goes with getting your ID, do you have to get your ID before you have your nationality paper sealed? Excuse me. No, not necessarily. You know, it's like, yeah, it's not compulsory. I mean, it helps because, you know, like, as far as identifying yourself, because you got a lot of Europeans now who are trying to, you know, claim to be Moors and get their load of your nationality card. So, like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, so good. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, brother. My bad. Nah, you good. I'm just saying, like, to think about it, so somebody could be like, oh yeah, no, that's some more. You know what I'm saying? Like, to absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. You can't really tell. You sure right though. You sure right. I didn't even think about that, but now that you said, I'm like, yep, you sure right though. And hey, big up to you too, Kudjo, man, because I be watching your videos, man, and I be seeing them questions you be posed to just the listeners and viewers, and I be like, man, if they don't get it just by them questions being posed, and something really got to be wrong with them, man. Like real talk.
Straight up. Straight
You
up.
know, I don't really have a lot of questions for you. I just wanted to call in, man, and, you know, to talk to two of the legends, man, before all this COVID going down, man. I wanted to at least get a chance to speak with y'all, man. I don't know what's going to happen, and I appreciate y'all, the work y'all doing. Glad RB Base up and still running, because, you know, some people was claiming, oh, man, they ain't no, but anyway, man, this what got me started. And I was on RB Bay trying to tell everybody and their mama, like, man, y'all need to get on there, read this. I'm printing everything out, trying to pass it out. They're like, man, I hear you, but, you know, all these excuses. So, still big up to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all, and peace and love.
Peace and love, Noble.
Peace and love. All right, that's big. Hey, man, that's funny he said that, you know, because, I mean, direct engagement and talking to people is always a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But, like, before COVID, it was, like, a lot of methods and strategies to get the word out. Like, for Morris, I know when we made a special appearance or something like that, it was mandatory. I don't know if some of y'all may remember. And it's still out there. The Do You Know Your Rights package with all the case laws on it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That was one of the ones.
It's like, yeah. When you go to these de facto courtrooms and whatnot, like they usually like in the lobby or the vestibule, somewhere in the hallway, somewhere before you get into the room, they have this thing with like a piece of paper saying these are your rights. You have a right to an attorney and all of this. We would just swap those out and put in the Do You Know Your Rights. You know what I'm saying? Like people who's in the lobby rapping Do You Know Your Rights, going in there rocking, and it's like we ain't gotta convince nobody about nothing. It's just how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So now people was in there keeping the case law. And what you gonna do? They got it from right in the vestibule. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up.
That's how we did it, yo. That's fucking good. That's real talk. So you ain't gotta convince 100 people. You know what I'm saying? You just put that thing right up in there, and you know what I mean. Let the people do what they gonna do with it.
Straight up.
But yeah, man, I remember. Yeah, fact. Groups to go to the damn joint with the giveaways. You know what I'm saying? Just put them right in there. Fact. So yeah, that being said, we're gonna go to the next caller. Caller 347-5 589. Peace, man. It's wrong. It's wrong. You know, you already know what it is. Kudjo.
Peace more.
And happy solar return. I want to tell you that out of my mouth.
Give thanks more. I know I got your message too. Give thanks for the message.
Yeah, not a problem, more. You know what I mean? But I just don't want to let y'all guys know y'all do outstanding work. And, you know what I mean? I'm riding with you guys to the wheels fall. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. You know, being studious and being active, that's what all movers need to do. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. When you know this information, you need to try to give it to many people as you can. But I'm not going to say go brush your head trying to just give it to everybody, because not everybody has time. Not everybody really believes in wars like that. They look at us as traitors, or they have been pseudo-educated with their indoctrination. See what I'm saying? So, how I run is that when I speak to people and they come asking questions and they're inquisitive about, you know, some of the things I say, and, you know, I always get honest to my prophet, and they ask me, who is that, that. Well, you know, I just try to break it down as far as the one-on-one to try to get them to see that they're not so-called black. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's how I come across, because I still have people in my own family, you know what I mean, that, you know, they gravitating to some of the stuff that I say, but they still, you know what I mean, still kind of on the fence or wish-washy about certain things. So, but, you know, you have to be patient. And, you know, and like I always say, you know, I'm a patient man. You know what I mean? So it's just about how, you know, we go at looking at certain things. Like you said, performance round, you know what I mean, certain more that perspective. And, you know what I mean, we just have to look at certain things from what point. The other move that was on, he was saying that everybody has a different perspective or focal point at what it's been, you know what I mean, looked at from a certain witness or a certain viewpoint, you know what I mean? So, you know, from everybody that's active, that's real active in the movement, everybody has their own different situations that they either failed or they overcame. So even though you might have failed, you know what I mean, but it still teaches you something. So, you know, that's the main thing about being active in this movement. And, you know what I mean, and being very, very studious and being astute and really going to assist more who really need to assist, not just riding his coattail or just, you know what I mean, you know, like we say, is my language, big ride, you know what I mean? Because all more is supposed to be competent. We're supposed to be able to stand on our own feet, you know what I mean? Or new moors coming in, assist those moors to bring them up to speed, you know what I mean? So they can be able to stand on their own feet themselves. So, you know, that's why I give much honor to you guys and my prophet, over to our lead, to already understand and understand that we have to stay at a focal point about being who we're supposed to be, and that as a nation, and that as a nationality, and as a people. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to, you know, add those two little cents, man. You know what I mean? And just want to say you guys, I love you guys. I love my nation. I love my moral fighters, especially the moral fighters. Because we have to understand that the prophet came, he had her. He had no man. He had nobody else but her. So, you know what I mean? So that is the matriarch. Needs to be back on the throne, and more than enforce the law. But the moral fighters have to make sure that she's in her right mind too, because she's really the one that's going to be mentioned from the womb. That'll make our plight a little bit more easier once we put her back on her throne. You know what I mean? Because everything in nature's law goes with the bees and the ant. When you look at the ant, you got one queen ant, okay, and she dictates everything, and everybody else do what she says, just like the bee. So it's just like that in so many profound ways as us evolving into what we need to be as, you know, the protectors of our own. And that's what more of us standing for. I look at a lot of things from a different perspective, from, you know, masonry and all this old bullcrap. And, you know, you have certain masons out there that want to supply Moors and want to tell Moors this, that, and the third, and those lives, you know, what I mean, to keep you from shining and keep you from, you know, putting the light down on certain things. They are already a shadow of the Europeans in reverse, because the Europeans, the modern Europeans, were shadows of us. So now they're mad at you because you're walking around with your feds on without a tack down, and you have a mason ring on, you know what I mean, and you can display and talk openly. You know what I mean? Because that's what the prophet said. I came here to reveal all the secrets. So you just have to be careful about what type of Moors you're dealing with, because a lot of them are clandestine and they out there to see what you're doing. And they want to try to, you know, bump you off the journey or give you some miscellaneous information or something like that. So Moors, just be careful. Get with real Moors that's going to help you out. And, you know what I mean? And just make sure you're loyal to those Moors that's faithful and sponsoring this movement. And that's all I got to say, Moors. I don't want to be long-winded. You know what I mean? I just want to give praise to Ralph Morale Day, Taj Tariq Bay, you know what I mean? You know, Dr. Aline Bay, Hakeem Bay, you know, the usual, you know what I mean? And that's it, Moors. Peace and love. Peace, Moors. Love.
Islam,
Islam. All right. So that being said, bro, that was our last caller. I want to play us out with the clip of El Haj Malik denouncing being a black Muslim and Muhammad Ali denouncing being a black Muslim. But I want to ask you, man, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, I kind of already know, but, you know, did you have any thoughts about the so-called Asian, they passed the bill to stop Asian hate, right? And so-called blacks still didn't get a bill passed for them. Kamala's on record saying she's not going to do nothing specifically for so-called black people, but they did something specifically for Asians. Got any thoughts on that, bro?
well, like they're saying, this idea of people not having a nationality is at the forefront, because even though they're saying they're passing the bill for Asian Americans, which is no different than saying African Americans, the Asian Americans at least have a nationality under Asian Americans. That's not the all and be all as far as their identity. You know, like they're not Asian Americans. If you ask them, they got a nationality. But when you go to the African Americans and you ask them, okay, what's your nationality? They're telling you about black and African and all this, which no bills for you, because these people are going to protect their naturalized citizens before they protect their property. This property doesn't have rights. So, you know, they're going to call it anti-Asian American hate bill and whatever. But that's really a slap in the face, so the African Americans can know they're not getting jack. Because Asian American is the same as saying African American. It's the same. There's no difference. So how are these people getting a bill and then the African Americans can't get a bill yet if they're called the same thing? A continent. Okay, so continent people got crime bill or bill against them or whatever, and then the other people having or bill for them, and then the other people are getting bills only against them. and programs only against them, and amendments only against them, and privileges and civil rights and all these things that mean nothing. But these Asian Americans, they're getting something, and our people don't get it. All right, then keep not getting it. You know, just same thing with Drew Ali. You fail to give your free national name, you're going to be misused, abused, and exiled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I'll yield the floor on that.
Indeed. I knew your thoughts was along those lines, but it was definitely wild to see. Like, that's a slap in the face, wake up call. Nationality is definitely the order of the day, man. That being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening tonight. We will be back. Assistant Standing on Law is this upcoming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next month, I know there's probably going to be a lot of things that happen between now and our next broadcast, but definitely want to put some things and exhibit some things on the screen. So I'll make sure we have that together for sure the next month so we could go into this Indian thing and dispel some of those false narratives. I definitely want to do that. I look forward to that one. And I'm just glad to check in with y'all tonight again. And I got to say this too, because I usually point this out in the beginning of the broadcast. But another significant thing, not that it's to something that we celebrate, but we know the damage that it has done. But May 20th was also the first day of the First Nicene Creed being held. And I didn't point that out earlier.
For real.
So, you know, as we speaking of, that's real talk. That's real talk. And we know El Hajj Malik wasn't no Christian or nothing. But I think that, you know, some of the more freeing perspectives he had was, like you said, taking the Hajj and seeing different nationalities actually practicing or exercising Islam. And I know that some of our people today are still under that Christian spell, man. And I hope we get up out of that. I'm not knocking anybody's faith, but, you know, there's people who claim it and still kind of confused about it. And I believe that's like in every sector, if you will, or any so-called religion or, you know, faith or whatever. But we're gonna get into all of that. But I'm gonna end on this note. I know I've played this before, but in honor of El Hajj Malik Shabazz, I'm gonna play this clip again, and as well as Muhammad Ali. So with that being said, peace and love, Morris.
Peace and love.
Kudjo.
Islam, more.
Again,
always.
Morris Heritage and History School, Sons of Allah, for May 2021.
Honors to MHHS.
We'll be back next month.
Honors to MHHS and RV Bay Publications for allowing us to have our platform. Islam.
Facts. Major facts. Major facts. Islam. Peace to that. All right.
But first we would like to let you know who is this group that's always referred to as Black Group. Actually, the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we don't call ourselves Black Group a pastor. And that's the good for all the Black Groups. I'm taking you out of the I said, not Black Group. I think about it. We don't call ourselves Black Group a pastor. We don't call ourselves Black Group a pastor. This is a name that will be written by a so-called Negro preacher named Reverend C.L. Lincoln. This is a name that will be written by a so-called Negro preacher named Reverend C.L. Lincoln, who is a preacher, Reverend preacher out of Atlanta, Georgia, being selected and sent to Boston University, where he did some research on the Muslim, the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad here in America. Also, Reverend Lincoln thinks to study the other people And after accepted, he was called a doctor. He's a doctor of Muslimology. And he developed his thesis into a book called The Black Muslim. And today the white man calls us the Black Muslim, not because we are black people who are Muslim, but he tries to make it look like we are black Muslims, something distinct, separate and apart from the Muslims in Africa and Asia. Because the number one tactic that the white man has always used when he wanted to suppress and oppress and exploit is the divide and conquer. So he tries to divide us from the Muslims abroad. He tries to divide us from our own people here in this country. His constant tactic or effort to create division and divide us has been a failure thanks to Almighty God Allah. His constant tactic or effort to create division and divide us has been a failure thanks to Almighty God Allah. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslims. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslims. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslims. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslims. As Muslims, we are the same as the people who call themselves Muslims. We are Muslims because our religion is the religion of Islam. And there are 725 million people in the dark world, primarily in Africa and Asia, whose religion is the religion of Islam. 725 million people in the dark world who 5 times a day drink of liquor and bear witness to the good of Allah and Muhammad is the apostle of Allah. The name of our forefathers and the honor of the right to Muhammad is brought up. They say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Before you and I were brought La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. That means there's no doubt but Allah and Muhammad is his apostle. And you will usually find the white man will call on or bear witness to any God but Allah. And he knows people who serve God, or except those who use the name Allah as the supreme being. And in saying this, we believe that there is one God who is the supreme being, the creator of the universe. And when we call him Jehovah, or we call him Christ, we who are Muslims call him Allah. We don't have a wrong in Jesus and King God. It is only been since you were brought to America and brainwashed by the slave master that if you have come to think that Jesus is God. And Jesus was crucified on the cross 2,000 years ago, 9,000 miles from here, and you can call on that Jesus the rest of your life, and the white man will continue to put his rope around your neck. And in the Bible, please, in the Bible, there is one God. He has one religion, and that he gave us one religion, the same religion, for all of his prophets. Which means Abraham was a Muslim, Lot was a Muslim, Noah was a Muslim, Moses was a Muslim, Daniel was a Muslim, Jesus was a Muslim, all were Muslims, all practice the religion of Islam. You cannot name one prophet, please. You cannot name one prophet in the Bible that came from Europe. No prophet came from Europe. The prophets all came from Africa and Asia. And they came from that part of Africa, a lot of that part of Asia is connected with Africa. And this is one thing that you need to know before you can really have a love for the prophet and a love for the religion. There's a love by the prophet and a love for the God who was represented by the prophet. I think about that.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.